Have you ever been woken up in the middle of the night by a sharp jolt in your calf? Like a rope suddenly pulled too tight, your leg locks up, and for a moment, all you can do is breathe through the pain? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And the good news? You don't need pills to fix it, just a handful of the right foods, and I'll show you how. I've spoken to hundreds of patients over 60, and I can tell you, night leg cramps are more common than you might think, especially those that strike when you least expect it, just as you're drifting into a peaceful sleep. One woman I work with, June, 68 years old, a retired librarian, told me something that stuck with me. She said, "It's like my body forgets how to rest. My legs go to war while I'm trying to find peace." And she's not exaggerating. What most people don't realize is this. As we age, our bodies quietly begin to lose some of the very minerals that keep our muscles calm and steady. Magnesium, potassium, zinc, vitamin B1. Without them, your nerves misfire. Your muscles contract when they shouldn't, and that's when the pain begins. Now, many folks turn to pills, muscle relaxers, magnesium tablets, sleep aids, and sometimes they help, but sometimes they don't. Or worse, they come with side effects we didn't ask for. But here's the hopeful part. Sometimes the answer isn't found in a bottle, but in a bowl. Nature, in all her quiet wisdom, has already given us gentle tools for healing. And today I want to share one of the simplest, most overlooked ways to reclaim peaceful nights and stronger legs: through food. Not fancy food, not expensive food, but a few humble handfuls of nuts and seeds. You see, there are 9 types, yes, 9, that I recommend to nearly every patient who struggles with leg cramps or restless sleep. Each one delivers something your aging body craves. Magnesium to soothe, potassium to stabilize, healthy fats to support blood flow, and natural compounds that promote deeper sleep. And no, I'm not talking about changing your whole diet overnight. I'm talking about adding just one small thing at the right time of day with intention. So before you reach for another pill or blame your body for getting old, I want you to ask yourself, what if something as simple as a spoonful of seeds could give me my rest back? Stay with me. I'll walk you through these 9 healing foods, how they work, and how you can gently weave them into your life. No stress, no confusion, just kindness from the inside out. Let's begin with one of the most underrated yet deeply comforting nuts out there, macadamia nuts. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Aren't those just fancy snacks from Hawaii? But let me tell you a little secret. These small, creamy gems carry more healing power than most people realize. Macadamias are rich in manganese and vitamin B1, 2 nutrients your muscles and nerves quietly depend on. And here's the thing. As we age, our bodies don't just lose minerals, they also become less efficient at using them. I had a gentleman in his early 70s, Harold, a retired mechanic with a sharp mind and legs that constantly betrayed him at night. He came in one day frustrated, saying, "Doc, I drink water, I stretch, I even tried magnesium. Still no peace at night." What we discovered together was that he wasn't just lacking magnesium, he was missing the subtle nutrients that help the body use magnesium well, and that's where macadamias came in. You see, vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, plays a crucial role in how your brain sends signals to your muscles. Without enough of it, even the best intentions get lost in translation. Twitches, spasms, or those long, stubborn cramps are often the result. Manganese, on the other hand, is like the unsung hero behind the scenes. It helps your connective tissues stay flexible, your circulation strong, and your muscles ready to respond without overreacting. What I love most about macadamia nuts is not just their nutrition, it's their gentleness. They're soft, buttery, easy on the teeth, perfect for anyone who finds almonds too hard or sunflower seeds too crunchy. A small handful in the afternoon, maybe with a warm cup of tea, can be both a comfort and a quiet act of prevention. And no, I'm not saying macadamias are magic, but what I've seen time and time again is that when you give your body what it truly needs, healing becomes less of a battle and more of a return. So if you've been struggling with restless legs or waking up tired from the fight your body has each night, try inviting a few of these little golden helpers into your day. Sometimes strength doesn't roar. Sometimes it arrives softly in the form of a nut. Now I want you to imagine something with me. It's late afternoon. The light is soft. You're sitting by the window, maybe with a book or the sound of a familiar voice on the radio. And in your hand is a small handful of almonds. Not much, just enough to feel the crunch. But that simple act, that quiet moment, is more powerful than it looks. You see, almonds are what I call a foundational food for muscle health. They're rich in magnesium, one of the most essential minerals for helping your muscles relax. Not tighten, not twitch, not cramp, but truly deeply relax. And here's where it gets interesting. As we age, even if we eat magnesium, our bodies aren't as good at absorbing it. Add in common medications, stress, or digestive changes, and it's no wonder so many seniors are low, even if they don't realize it. One woman I remember well, Linda, 66, a retired school teacher, told me she used to wake up 3 or 4 times a week with sharp cramps in her calves. She tried stretching, she tried drinking more water. It helped a little, but the pain always came back until we added one simple habit: a small handful of raw, unsalted almonds in the early evening. Nothing fancy, just consistent. And after a few weeks, she said to me, "I didn't wake up once this week. Not once, doctor. I almost forgot what that pain felt like." Now that's not a miracle. It's minerals doing their job. But almonds give you more than just magnesium. They offer vitamin E, which supports blood flow, calcium, which helps nerves and muscles communicate, and healthy fats, which reduce inflammation and protect your joints. All packed into one modest, humble nut. If you're thinking about when to add them, try late afternoon when your body starts to wind down. Or better yet, almond butter on whole grain toast in the evening. It's not just food, it's fuel for a peaceful night. I always say we don't need to chase complicated solutions. Sometimes healing begins with one slow chew, one quiet moment, one handful of care. So if your legs have been whispering for help, maybe it's time to start listening. And maybe, just maybe, that answer is sitting right there in your kitchen. I want you to think about this for a moment. What if your leg cramps at night, those sudden jolts that steal your sleep, weren't just a muscle problem, but a nervous system problem? I've seen it again and again. The legs are shouting, but the real issue starts in the mind. That's why I often recommend something surprisingly gentle and powerful: walnuts. Yes, those little brain-shaped nuts. They're more than just a snack for memory. They're what I like to call nourishment for the connection between your brain, your nerves, and your muscles. You see, walnuts are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, the kind that fight inflammation, ease tension, and support your body's natural rhythm. But that's just the beginning. They also contain vitamin B6, which helps nerves send clearer, calmer signals. And a small but mighty compound called melatonin, the same natural hormone your body uses to fall asleep. So when you eat a few walnuts before bed, you're not just feeding your muscles, you're whispering to your brain, "It's time to rest now, you're safe." One of my patients, George, 72, former Navy man, tough as nails, told me he hated feeling out of control at night. He'd jolt awake from cramps, drenched in sweat, gripping the side of the bed. We started small, 5 walnut halves in the evening with a warm cup of chamomile tea. That was it. No pills, no protocols. A few weeks later, he told me, "Doc, I still wake up sometimes, but now it's from the birds, not the pain." And he smiled in a way I hadn't seen before. Walnuts won't fix everything, but they have this quiet ability to support everything at once. Your heart, your joints, your mind, your sleep. If your nights feel restless, if your body is tired, but your brain won't turn off, try a few walnuts an hour before bed, not a bowl. Just a few. Sometimes that's all it takes to remind your body how to rest. Because true healing, my friend, isn't always loud. Sometimes it's as soft as the sound of a walnut shell cracking in your hand and the peace that follows after. If this is resonating with you so far, and you're looking for more gentle ways to care for your body as you age, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like a quiet reminder when new videos arrive, tap the little bell too. We walk this path together, and I'd be honored to have you with us. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly felt hydrated? Not just quenched, but steady, calm, like your body wasn't running on empty? You see, we often think leg cramps are about muscles, and they are to an extent. But sometimes the problem isn't the muscle, it's the water around the muscle. That's why I love to talk about chia seeds. They're tiny, almost invisible, but don't let their size fool you. They're little reservoirs of healing. What makes chia seeds special is something beautifully simple. They hold water. In fact, they can absorb up to 10 times their weight in moisture, forming a soft, gel-like texture that moves gently through your body, slowly, steadily, silently hydrating every cell it touches. And hydration, my friend, is not just about drinking more. As we age, our sense of thirst weakens. We think we're fine, but our muscles are quietly drying out, tightening, cramping, calling for help. I remember one woman, Margaret, 70, a watercolor artist with a smile as gentle as her brushstrokes. She told me, "I don't think I drink enough, but I never feel thirsty anymore." We added just 1 tablespoon of soaked chia seeds to her morning routine. Nothing else changed, not her meals, not her sleep, just one simple habit. 3 weeks later, she said, "My legs don't fight me at night anymore. And my skin even feels different." And I believe her, because when you're hydrated from within, your whole body softens. Chia seeds also give you magnesium, calcium, potassium, and omega-3s. All the quiet builders that keep your muscles strong, your joints fluid, and your blood flowing with ease. But their greatest gift, they teach us that softness is strength. Soak them in water, stir them into your oatmeal, sip them slowly. Let them become part of your rhythm. Because the body isn't just a machine, it's a garden. And gardens don't grow by force. They grow when watered, gently, patiently, every single day. If someone you love is quietly dealing with the same pain, send them this video. Sometimes the kindest thing we can give is a small piece of hope. And if you'd like more stories like this, real people, real healing, feel free to subscribe and stay close. You know, some of the strongest healing comes from the smallest, most unassuming places. Take sunflower seeds, for instance. Most people think of them as something you'd snack on at a ball game or toss into trail mix without much thought. But for me, and for many of my patients, these little seeds have become tiny anchors of calm in an otherwise restless body. Let me explain. Every time you move, lift your foot, roll your ankle, stretch before bed, your brain sends an electric signal through your nerves, telling your muscles, now it's time to move. But what happens when those signals get fuzzy? What happens when the connection flickers like a weak radio station? That's where vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, plays a vital role. And guess what's packed with it? Yes, sunflower seeds. I remember Mr. Thomas, 69, a retired jazz pianist, who came to see me because he said, "It feels like my legs are trying to play a tune my brain can't hear anymore." It was poetic and painfully accurate. He wasn't low on strength. He was low on communication. His nerves were misfiring, and the cramps, the twitching, they were all part of that broken signal. We added just a small handful of unsalted, shelled sunflower seeds to his lunch every day. Nothing complicated, just consistency. And slowly, his nights began to quiet down. His fingers softened on the piano keys. His legs stopped interrupting his dreams. Sunflower seeds also bring along magnesium, selenium, vitamin E, and healthy fats. A perfect team of calmness, reducing inflammation, and keeping the blood flowing where it needs to go. You can sprinkle them on soups, salads, yogurt, or just enjoy a spoonful with a warm drink. I often say, it's not about how fancy the food is, it's about how gently it supports your body. Because growing older isn't a breakdown, it's a shift in rhythm. And sometimes, a few tiny seeds can help you find that rhythm again. So if your legs have been sending mixed messages, sunflower seeds might be the translator your body's been waiting for. There's a kind of tightness that lives deep in the body. It's not always visible, not the kind that makes you cry out in pain, but the kind that makes your knees stiff in the morning, your legs ache after sitting too long, or your calves cramp even when you're just trying to rest. That tightness, it's often rooted in something many people don't talk about enough: inflammation. And for that, I often turn to one of the most quietly powerful foods in nature's cabinet: flax seeds. Not the whole kind you scatter on bread, but the ground version, flax meal, soft, earthy, and full of quiet medicine. You see, flax seeds are one of the best plant-based sources of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically ALA, a kind of fat that doesn't just nourish the body. It gently tells it to loosen, to flow, to let go. Because inflammation is like tension in the background. It tightens blood vessels, irritates nerves, stiffens joints, and over time, that tension becomes pain. The kind that wakes you at 2 a.m. or keeps you from walking to the mailbox without pausing. I once had a patient, Carol, 74, former dancer, who said, "It's not the pain that breaks me, doctor. It's how long it lingers." Together, we added one small spoonful of ground flaxseed into her morning smoothie. Nothing dramatic, no overhaul, just quiet support. Within weeks, she told me she could move more freely. She felt unwound. Beyond omega-3s, flax seeds bring magnesium, B vitamins, lignans, plant compounds that protect cells, and fiber, which doesn't just help digestion, but balances blood sugar, which is closely tied to cramping and circulation. The key, though, is to grind them, or buy them ground. Whole flax seeds pass through the body untouched, but once ground, they become a balm, working gently from the inside out. Just one spoonful a day. Stir into oats, blend into yogurt, mix with nut butter, or sprinkle into soups. Let it become part of your rhythm. Because sometimes the most powerful healing isn't loud or fast, it's subtle, steady. Like a river loosening stone, like a breath you didn't know you were holding, or a muscle finally letting go. You don't have to remember everything we've covered today. That's why I share these videos every week. Gentle, simple reminders to help you feel steady again. If that sounds like something your heart needs, click subscribe and tap the bell. I'll be right here when you need me. Have you ever noticed how certain aches seem to return at the same time every day? For many of my patients, it's the evening. Just as the world begins to quiet down, their legs start to speak up. A dull throb, a sudden twitch, a cramp that doesn't ask for permission. It's a cruel kind of irony, isn't it? The moment you long for rest is the very moment your body refuses to give it. This is where I often introduce something simple, green, and deeply restorative: pumpkin seeds, or as some call them, Papitas. Tiny? Yes, but don't be fooled. These seeds are mineral powerhouses, especially rich in magnesium. The very mineral your muscles need to unclench, to settle, to stop firing without reason. In fact, just 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds can give you nearly 40% of your daily magnesium needs. That's almost double what you'd get from almonds. But pumpkin seeds go even further. They carry zinc, which helps your nervous system send smooth, steady messages. They carry iron, which keeps oxygen flowing to your muscles. And perhaps most beautifully, they contain tryptophan, an amino acid that your body uses to create serotonin, and eventually melatonin. In simpler words, they don't just help your legs, they help your sleep. I had a man named Leonard, 76, former high school coach, who told me his legs would cramp so badly at night, he kept a tennis ball near the bed just to roll under his calves in the dark. We added just a spoonful of roasted, unsalted pumpkin seeds an hour before bed, along with warm water and a moment of stillness. He came back weeks later, smiling quietly. "Coach Walker," he said, still calling me that from habit, "I finally started making it to sunrise." That's the power of food that knows what to do. No side effects, no complications, just gentle minerals where they're needed most. So if you often find yourself wide-eyed at 3 a.m., fighting a battle your legs keep starting, try ending your evening with something small, green, and healing. Because sometimes, rest begins long before you close your eyes. Sometimes, it starts with a seed. Some people say, just tough it out, push through the cramps, walk it off. But what if your body's not asking you to be tougher? What if it's asking you to be gentler? That's the spirit behind one of my favorite, most comforting recommendations, cashews. Now I'll be honest, not everyone tolerates the crunchy texture of almonds or sunflower seeds. Some of my patients have dental issues, sensitive digestion, or they simply don't enjoy hard foods anymore. That's where cashews shine. They're soft, creamy, and yet quietly full of healing. Just 1 ounce, about 16 to 18 cashews, gives you close to 80 milliliters of magnesium, a mineral we've talked about again and again, because it matters that much. But cashews bring more than magnesium. They offer zinc for your nerves, iron to carry oxygen to tired muscles, copper for connective tissue strength, and even a little tryptophan, which helps promote natural sleep. I remember Dorothy, 75, a former baker with the kindest hands. She came to me frustrated, not with pain, but with the pills. She said, "Doctor, I'm tired of chewing chalk. I want something my body actually wants." We swapped her nightly supplement for a small handful of cashews before dinner. Within a month, her legs were quieter, and her mood softer. That's what gentle nutrition can do. Cashews are also versatile. You can eat them as they are, blend into smoothies, stir into rice dishes, or even spread a little cashew butter on toast in the evening. Just make sure they're unsalted and dry roasted. Nothing your kidneys don't need, and no added oils to muddy the message. And if you've ever dealt with kidney stones or blood sugar issues, be mindful. A small portion goes a long way. Because here's the truth. You don't need to hurt to prove you're strong. You don't need to grind your way through every discomfort. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do for yourself is choose something soft, something nourishing, something that listens to your body's quiet needs, even when the world tells you to ignore them. Some foods whisper, others sing, and a few, they surprise you. Not with boldness, but with how something so small can give so much. That's how I feel about popped quinoa. Now I know, quinoa isn't technically a nut or seed. It's a grain, yes. But when toasted or popped, it becomes something else entirely. Light, crisp, almost playful. But don't be fooled by its airy crunch. It's packed with quiet strength. You see, popped quinoa delivers a gentle kind of magnesium, along with plant-based protein that your aging muscles crave. It's easy to digest, which makes it perfect for those who struggle with heavier foods or who want to nourish without overloading. One of my patients, Ron, 73, soft-spoken and recently recovering from a hospital stay, told me he felt too tired to eat, but even more tired not eating. We added popped quinoa to his routine, sprinkled on steamed veggies, stirred into soups, even enjoyed with almond milk like cereal. Within a few weeks, he had more energy. Not dramatic, but enough to walk longer, sleep deeper, feel like himself again. That's the beauty of quinoa. It's light, but it lifts. It contains all 9 essential amino acids, something rare in plant foods, which means it helps rebuild tissue, maintain muscle, and support healing. And its magnesium content, though modest, becomes powerful when combined with the other foods we've talked about. Popped quinoa doesn't ask much. Just a small sprinkle here, a spoonful there. It's easy on the stomach and easy to love. I often tell my patients, not every remedy has to be heavy. Not every solution has to taste like medicine. Sometimes it comes in the form of something warm, nutty, and light enough to float. So if you are looking for strength without the weight, if your body needs softness with substance, give this humble little grain a seat at your table, because in the end, healing isn't always a grand event. Sometimes it's just a gentle crackle in a quiet kitchen, and the return of strength, one bite at a time. So now you've met them. 9 small companions on the journey back to comfort. 9 simple foods that ask nothing loud, but offer so much in return. Not a single one is a miracle on its own, but together, they become something greater, a rhythm, a quiet commitment to care for your body, not with punishment, not with guilt, but with kindness and a little curiosity. You don't need to do everything at once. You don't need to get it perfect. You just need to begin. Maybe tomorrow morning you sprinkle chia seeds into your oatmeal. Maybe this evening you hold a handful of almonds in your palm, not just as food, but as a reminder. You are worth this softness. You are worth this care. Because here's the truth I want you to remember. Your body's not failing you. It's speaking to you. And healing begins the moment you start listening. So, take it slow. Take it gently. And if this video gave you even one small idea, one small sense of hope, I invite you to share it with someone else who might be quietly hurting too. Leave me a comment below. Tell me which seed or nut you'd like to try first, or simply say hello. I do read every word, and if you'd like more of these peaceful, practical ways to feel strong as you age, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. This space is for you. Until next time, be well, rest easy, and never forget, the smallest steps can still carry you forward.